Okay, it's live now. So, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Genderetic. And again, already having technical difficulties because we were live for about 5 minutes until I realized that I have to hit go live on my stream to go live. Who knew? Like who
Yeah,
could
it's
imagine that was
wild.
something wild? It's just incredible. But anyway, we are on time. So there you go. There we got that going for us. So my name is Allison. This is Genderetic. Brian is here as the producer of this, as it were, not to blame for anything that happened because I was the one with the button. I was the one who had a single task to do, which was to hit that button, and I screwed it up. But anyway,
Failed.
we're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're ready. We're going. We're doing the thing. We're doing it live. And I just want to remind everyone who is watching that you can send us a message at feedthebadger.com/justthetip at any point. If you want to support us, me and Brian and Hannah and everybody else who does work, or the people who help out at Honey Badger Radio, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/feedthebadger.com/support. Okay, let's get into it. So today's topic, which has a little bit of interesting kind of crossover with reality, is apparently the actress for Rhaenys from House of Dragons. So if you don't know who Rhaenys is, she is the woman who was passed over in a previous generation for inheriting the throne. So she was like the firstborn, but she didn't inherit the throne of Westeros because firstborn women don't get it. But the next generation, the generation after her, so like her grandchildren's generation, a
Mm-hmm.
girl did inherit. That was Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra? Rhaenyra? Yes, I think it's Rhaenyra. But anyway,
Rhaenys,
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenys, whatever.
Rhaenyra, whatever, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so this is the woman in the previous generation who didn't get the throne, and she took her dragon to the coronation of the king, who basically usurped the throne from the princess whose father had given her the throne. And she killed a whole bunch of civilians as a political statement. And yeah, there you go. That's who she was. And apparently the actress was channeling Hillary Clinton's disappointment at being denied her rightful throne, and that's where that. So I thought we'd discuss it because I have my own opinion on anti-war crimes and her validity as a character, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's get into it. Let's just start
Yeah,
because
okay. So I'll just
I've
start reading
screwed
the
up enough
article.
already.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll start reading the article. When you want to butt in, just start and I'll shut up. Or just let me know I'll let's
Sure.
just do it like this. I'll read a paragraph, you give me your thoughts, okay?
Okay, all right.
All right, this is from the Los Angeles Times, and I'll just display it really quick. As Rhaenyra battled Eve Best, that's the actress's name, channeled Hillary Clinton. The story contains spoilers from House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 4, The Red Dragon and the Gold. The Queen who never was is no more. In Sunday's episode of House of the Dragon, is this last Sunday or today?
Last Sunday, because the
Okay.
Sunday's episode is going to be airing in about 6 hours, or no, like 5, 6, something like that. Like
Like
it's
late tonight, is what
late
you're
tonight.
saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
So last week's Sunday's episode of House of the Dragon, The Red Dragon and the Gold, Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, Eve Best, volunteers to take her
Right.
dragon Meleys into
Malaise.
Malays, isn't it? Meleys. I don't know. I don't watch the
Oh
show.
God, I don't know.
Is it melees?
Malaise,
Melees? Like, you're
malaise,
fighting?
malaise.
Melees. Okay, let me start over.
Let's be
In
calm.
Sunday's episode of House of the Dragon, The Red Dragon and the Gold, Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, Eve Best, volunteers to take her dragon Meleys into battle
Malaise.
at Meleys, yes.
Yeah.
Into battle at Rook's Rest, which is besieged by the Green's army led by Sir Criston Cole. She encounters two other dragon-riding Targaryens, Aegon and his beast Sunfire, who are quickly drowned, and Aemond and the ferocious Vagar, who prove to be more formidable opponents. Vagar, that's the dragon I assume,
Oh yeah,
deals a
yeah.
fatal blow to the much smaller Meleys, who falls from the sky. With a look of peaceful resignation on her face, Rhaenys plummets to certain death. Okay. Any thoughts on that so far, or should I keep going?
Peaceful resignation and plummeting to your death definitely belong together, but it is like the whole. I've made peace with the narrative style, I think, of House of Dragons, which is just basically sacrificing characterization, world building, plot consistency for dramatic moments, which functionally are basically melodramatic. I don't know why they would go with peace, but okay, all right. I guess they're trying to generate sympathy for this woman whose main political act so far is terrorism. Like let's just get it right out there. That's terrorism. You went to a coronation. Yes, I know it was the usurper. And you kill a bunch of people to make a political statement through violence, like a violent explosion, which is effectively what happens when you send a dragon through a stone wall. That's terrorism. And Rhaenys's body count at this point is higher than anyone else in the series. And that includes Daemon or Sir Crispy. Like, her body count is monstrous, and it's all unarmed civilians. So why am I supposed to feel bad about her dying? I mean, they really freaking forced it. Like, really forced the idea that, oh, this is so sad. I'm like, no, this is not sad. This is justified. This is this should be karmic retribution for all the bullshit that she's been pulling. And not just that, it's karmic retribution because Daemon was like, hey, Rhaenyra, we have potentially a strategic advantage because we got 2 dragons. We can take out Vargar, right? Well before this. And it's Vargar that ends up killing
Vargar.
Yeah, it's Vargar that ends up killing Rhaenys. So she had the opportunity with Daemon to do the intelligent thing, which was take out the largest military weapon on the other side. And she didn't do it. Instead, she hummed and hawed and guilted him about, the queen she's grieving. Even though Rhaenyra managed to start up this blockade while she was grieving, but apparently she couldn't rule while she was grieving. She could only take military, potentially aggravating action, but whatever. Leave it at that. Oh, she's grieving. She can't be expected to rule.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you feel if you're queen. You still have to do your job, right? And Damien throughout this entire thing has been like, let's do it. Let's deal with this manifest situation that we're in. And all she's done is like, no, we can't. We can only kill civilians. We can't actually kill legitimate military targets. It's not acceptable. This is bad. Like, okay, you have no moral basis to complain about Daemon at this point. What is your freaking body count? Like in the thousands? Like you're starting to get like a Soviet dictator body count, lady. Anyway, so she just anyway. So she says, no, we're not going to go kill this actual legitimate military target. And that's that actual legitimate military target that Daemon was agitating to go after that gets her. And I'm like, that's some nice poetic justice there. So woman with the biggest terroristic body count is out of the story, and I'm supposed to feel bad. Why? Can people explain that to me? I actually felt worse for Aegon and his dragon Sunfire, and I knew what they were fucking doing because this is the second time they've done it too. All right, what? Aegon is the usurper. He's the king on the throne, right? The one that anti-war crimes killed a whole bunch of civilians in front of to protest the fact he took the throne, right? So he went out against everybody else's wishes because he's been shit on this entire time and he got tired of it, so he wanted to do something. He took his dragon out, Sunfire, and there's this little scene where Aegon and his dragon are just, the dragon obviously is like really loves him, and he boops Aegon, and Aegon gives him a hug, and he's like, oh yeah. It's like a cute little man and dog scene almost, except the dog is a dragon. And I'm like watching this, I'm like, okay, they're gonna kill them. And I knew it because the previous couple episodes before.
So did they then?
Yes, of course they did. They either
Okay.
killed Aegon or Sunfire or both at this point. You know, spoilers, sorry guys, but um and I knew that they were going to because they always do this. Like the writers are so transparent. The last time they killed something that Aegon cherished was his son, right? Aegon actually cared for his son, and Aegon was doing cute things with his son. And you're like, oh yeah, the son's gonna bite it. And that's when Tweedledum and Tweedledee assassins, the most wretchedly incompetent assassins in all of freaking fantasy. Like a 12-year-old could write better assassins than these two. And they go in, they bumble their way up, and they kill Aegon's son. And you knew it was going to happen because they had those cute moments between Aegon and his son. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah, sure.
and
They
they do it again.
foreshadowed it. Yeah.
They foreshadowed it by very, like, they didn't even get, the writers don't even give you some time to invest in anything. They don't give you any time. In the same episode that they kill Aegon's son, they show Aegon being cute with his son. And it's like, you're being obvious. Can you learn to hide? Can you learn hide your foreshadowing a bit? Otherwise, it's no longer foreshadowing. It's
Yeah.
bricking. I call it bricking, just hitting your audience over the head with a brick. So they did exactly the same thing again, just like they did the infiltration plot 3 times. Ugh. All right. I'm done.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next
All right.
paragraph.
Let's go into this paragraph. Her fate and Aegon's uncertain future marks what is sure to be an escalation in the Targaryen family civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. Rhaenys, who was passed over in the line of succession in favor of King Viserys, Paddy Considine, that's the name of the actor, I assume, because of her gender, passed over because of her gender, only to see him name his daughter Rhaenyra, Emma D'Array, as his heir, was a rare voice of restraint and caution in the harsh world of Westeros, breaking out the fiery beasts only when absolutely necessary.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, good. So does she just get one minor genocide and that's just a free action? If you're a woman in Westeros, you just get one minor act of mass terrorism?
Yep.
And that, oh, good Lord. Like, honestly, I'm gonna do something right now. I'm going to bring out I'm gonna export the video I've been working on, and I'll send it to you, Brian. It'll take a moment, but continue. I just want to point that out. Like, she's already engaged in mass terroristic action, and the fact is that
go ahead.
She doesn't get to call herself a voice of restraint when she has a body count of unarmed civilians in the triple digits. All right.
Okay, Rhaenys' demise also means House of the Dragon viewers will be deprived of Best, a regal actor who infused the role with steely poise and quiet wisdom. Best has some experience with playing women in close proximity to the throne, having starred as Carol Middleton in the final season of The Crown and Wallace Simpson in The King's Speech. From her home in Italy, where birds could be heard chirping in the background, she spoke with the Times about her character's farewell and the real-world inspiration she drew from a certain female politician. Okay. So this is like a Q&A interview, so we're going to get like the interviewer statement and then the interviewee's reply. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see if we can get through this. Presumably, this is the interviewer. Presumably, you had some idea that things would end this way for Rhaenys, but how did you react when you read the script? And the actress responds, "It's the nature of the beast. If you're part of the Game of Thrones franchise, the strong likelihood is that there's going to be a sticky end at some point. I knew Rhaenys was going to die. I just didn't know exactly when. I was devastated on her behalf. I think she is such a magnificent character and a magnificent woman. There's that wonderful film, The Last Samurai. There's similar territory with Rhaenys. I said to Ryan, showrunner Ryan J. Condal, at the end of last season, I want her to go full samurai when things kick off, because up until that moment in season 1, when she breaks through her own glass ceiling on the dragon so fantastically, she stayed very neutral. She's trodden very lightly through the minefield. So she wanted to go out like the men did in The Last Samurai, like a final charge. Good movie, by the way.
I don't know what to say. Like, it's
She wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. Sounds like she wanted to go out like a G, and I guess she didn't. I don't know. I didn't want. Did she die in the last episode?
yes, yes, she died. Did she die in a blaze of glory? I don't know. She died
Well,
stupidly, really, because
oh,
the thing is that it once again. I mean, it's the writing was okay for. I'm like, you get an E for effort from me from this particular writing team. I don't expect a lot, so they did basically the kind of fake out that a 12-year-old would think was cool in their little short story that they're submitting to their teacher. Like, so they had Vagar, uh the big dragon hiding in the woods, and then they baited the other people out into to attacking, and of course they took the bait because they're idiots, and she took the bait because she's an idiot. But I guess she who knows, who the fuck knows, really. Just let's keep going.
all right. Rhaenyra's demise. Oh no, I already read that bit. Okay, next question. Presumably, you had some idea that things would end this way for Rhaenyra's. Oh no, I read that part. Hold on. It scrolled up for some reason. When you see these noble characters, these warriors in truth and goodness, on their side, dying, it's agony. In the context of this world, it's such a tremendous loss. In Westeros, as in our world, enlightened female role models are vital and much needed. That's absolutely the role that she plays, particularly in season 2. This beacon, like an instruction manual to Rhaenyra, this is what a good ruler does. This is how you lead. That's something that's always struck me about the nature of this particular story.
Are these people fucking mental?
The backbone of it being these women being thrust into the midst of a patriarchal system that is in disarray. Of course it is. I haven't even seen the show, and I knew that was coming. The P word was coming. What Rhaenys represents is someone with absolute authority, power, wisdom, intelligence, expertise, political savvy, and utter compassion, a constant awareness of the need for collaboration and making a choice for love as opposed to destruction. That was the end of the question. You want to say anything to that, or?
This is absolute bullshit. I mean, it's terrifying. Like, it's like they just completely freaking forgot the killing all the civilians in that one during the coronation. Just completely. Just
Yeah.
completely. Like, it's astounding to me. That's just a free action, because all of this is just bullshit. In order to assert this, you have to have complete lack of object permanence when it comes to this show. Like, the continuity is just not there. Okay, let's keep.
Yep.
Let's finish this off. How much more is there?
I don't know.
I should have
Let me
checked before
see.
I.
Do you think about any real world figures, whether historical or contemporary,
Oh,
in
here it
relation to
comes.
this character? there, there have been a lot of Rhaenys like women. Absolutely, 100%. Almost every single great woman you can think of has an element of Rhaenys. Sarah Hess, who's one of the executive producers and lead writers for the show, said to me in the first day, "There's so much of Hillary Clinton in Rhaenys. God knows you couldn't compare Viserys to the other one, a former President Trump. But the similarities are very clear. To see that the person who is absolutely hands down best suited for the job is sidelined simply because she's a woman and then has to somehow find her way." One of the things that gave me the most respect for Hillary Clinton was the aftermath of the 2016 election, how she navigated her role/non-role and brilliantly maintained her dignity, self-respect, and leadership. That felt like territory that Rhaenys was treading. I'm gonna.
How? She
I
blamed everybody
she
else but herself. That's not leadership.
she went on a Russia thing for 4 years, but okay. I felt keenly aware of how extremely difficult that particular dance, to not let the inevitable human disappointment turn to darker feelings of revenge, resentment, blame, to let none of it fester, as we see it is starting to taint choices that Rhaenyra and Alicent are making. We see them both going down these rabbit holes of potential disaster because of their personal circumstances. Rhaenys somehow manages to stay above it all in spite of every single blow that's thrown at her. The poetry of her literally coming to an end in the sky on her dragon and letting go into eternity is perfect.
Mm. Okay, and are we done? Are we done with this fatuous bullshit?
Well, there's more. There is more if you want me to read more.
Good God. You can't
Oh
even
yeah.
fucking be goddamn concise.
Well, I mean, like I kind of checked out when she said it's like Hillary Clinton. I mean, and so much grace, so much grace. Are you kidding me? All right. Remember, she wrote a book called What Happened, which she didn't write. She had somebody else write it, that explained why she was the victim of patriarchal society. That's why she lost the 2016 election. She wrote a book. Nobody bought it. It was like on sale for like, I don't know, 70% off in the fiction section of Barnes and Noble, but she did make a book. All right. Why do you think Rhaenys ultimately sided with Rhaenyra and Daemon, despite everything that happened to her children because of them and
Because
her own
plot.
claim to the throne?
There's absolutely no reason for it except for plot. Like, it's just plot convenience. That's why. Because plot. All right, but let's hear their reason.
Well, let's see what the
Because
actress
shitty
says.
writing. Because lack of continuity when it comes to characterization. Because again, she's siding with the woman who has single-handedly basically destroyed her legacy by birthing a bunch of bastards. Like this is her daughter-in-law who gave birth to not her son's children, but she doesn't care because, I don't know, sisterhood. No, she doesn't care because bad writing. Okay, let's
All right.
continue.
Why do you think Rhaenys ultimately sided with Rhaenyra and Daemon despite everything that happened to their children because of them? The decision to side with them is really tough, but yet again, she takes the personal out of the equation. The bigger picture is that Rhaenyra is absolutely the heir to the throne. Rhaenys has such a strong feeling of, quote, not again on my watch can this story be told. This is not going to happen again, literally over my dead body, end quote. It's very clear that Rhaenyra is the infinitely more sensible choice than Aegon. On all fronts, it's the
Why?
right thing to do.
First of all,
It's
Aegon doesn't really rule. It's just everybody around him who insists he do what they say, including his mother. At this point, it isn't even Aegon on the throne. It's Alicent, the Queen Dowager. Okay, let's keep going.
yeah. On all fronts, it's the right thing to do. It's almost like Rhaenys is programmed to do the right thing. She puts away her personal feelings, which is so hard to do. It's such a strong temptation to scratch her eyes out or just go off back to Driftmark with Corlys, sit looking at the sunset and wash her hands of all of them.
Really? Because putting aside her personal feelings is what she was defending Rhaenyra not doing when everybody needed her to lead as the queen. Do people just not remember stuff that happens? Like, are people who are watching House of Dragons, do you just erase your memory after each episode and you just come with it fresh? You're like, "Oh, what's going to happen today?" Because these characters are not consistent, their motivation isn't consistent, it's not clear. They don't respond normally to things that happen, and they assert things that are absurd. All right, and they are totally inconsistent because right here she's saying, or the actress is saying, well, Rhaenyra is about, doing your duty. And yet, what does she say when Daemon is like, let's do our duty and actually take out a military target? What does she say? Oh, the queen is grieving, so we do nothing. The queen doesn't even need to delegate. She can't be like, I'm not in the right mind to rule. Maybe somebody else should take over the rulership activities while I'm grieving. No, she's Rhaenyra is objectively a terrible leader. And not just that, But neither Rhaenyra or Alicent take any responsibility for anything that happens, which makes them even worse as leaders. They always deflect onto blaming men. Oh, the war was inevitable, even though we are the ones that pull all of the strings because the men just agitate so much for blah, blah, blah. But no, you are the leader. You are responsible. And if you're not responsible, you're not the leader. Why are we following you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. We've seen Rhaenys urge restraint over and over again. Why does she decide to use deadly force this time? It's reached the moment where it's
This time.
actually necessary. Yeah.
This. Why does she decide to use deadly force this time? So the previous time was Okay. Just finish. All right. Just finish.
All right. This is the end. This is the answer to the question. It's reached the moment when it's actually necessary. There's a point of no return. She tried everything. She argued for restraint, collaboration, and communication. She told Rhaenyra to go talk it out with Alicent, sister to sister, because these two women love each other and they have the power to heal. The Black Council spends a lot of time debating whether or not to unleash the dragons. When we were rehearsing, I said, "What's the context? How can we relate to this?" And Ryan said straight away, "Nuclear war. Nuclear war is inevitable in this world." And she knows 100% that she is the last grown-up in the room and the only person that can take that action. The moment when she says...
Rhaenyra to go talk to it with Alicent. So, and then nothing came of it. So she gave her really bad advice. Go threaten the entire operation in order to talk to someone and get nowhere with them. And honestly, unless she was telling Rhaenyra to go and surrender to Alicent, I don't know why she counseled any of this shit. It's stupid. It's just like, it's like they're trying to evoke a mood and a sense of flattery towards women and not an actual story. It's actually just, and this is really popular, I guess. They just want to make women feel good in the moment about being women, I guess.
I suppose that's what it is. All right. The moment when she says "send me" was changed at the last minute. Sarah Hess suggested that we change it to "you must send me," which is so brilliant because it's an instruction, almost like her last piece of guidance. She knows that she's sacrificing herself effectively. She knows that it's the red button. And if anyone's going to have the responsibility for pressing the red button and dealing with the appalling, devastating weight of that action, it has to be her. Because she's the only one who can cope with it, not just physically, but emotionally. I think she knows damn well that it is a kamikaze mission and is downplaying it.
And you know what's really funny is it wouldn't be. If they still had Daemon on their side, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a kamikaze mission. If they had listened to Daemon from the beginning, they wouldn't even be facing the dragon that eventually took her out, because they would have already gotten rid of the primary weapon on the other side. And don't give me this shit about reserve. Once you're starting to do blockades, and how do you do a blockade without sinking enemy ships? You're effectively declaring war on the enemy, right? That at that point, Rhaenyra was declaring war. I mean, it feels like the issue of war was paused on just to try to keep it as like a dramatic point. But the war started well before Rhaenyra and Alicent finally had their final, I don't know, girl to girl moment where Alicent said, "No, we're continuing with this." Like, it started as soon as they had this conflict. And it was not going to be resolved until one or the other ceded the throne. That's the only thing and every man in this series knew that. The only way this conflict is going to stop if Rhaenyra surrenders to Alicent or Alicent surrenders to Rhaenyra. That's it. That's the only thing that's going to stop it. So it was always in their hands to stop it. And if they aren't going to do it, if Rhaenyra absolutely wants to uphold her claim to the throne, there will be war. And Daemon was like, we need to start fighting this war. And if they had started fighting the war when Daemon was telling them to, then it's likely that the slow expansion of this civil war would have been stopped. They could have started to prosecute the war when it didn't include every goddamn lord in Westeros, when it was just a conflict between two families and the retainers. That has happened many times in medieval history.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones. Rhaenys counseling reserve and constantly expanding the scope of this war by bringing in more and more and more people, more and more lords. They were the ones that made this bigger than it had to be. And that is not reserve. That is idiocy. Right. And I'm like watching this freaking story unfold and watching these stupid decisions by these female characters that we don't want a fight. Well, you don't want to fight, but you keep expanding your allied base. What do you think is going to end up happening when you start bringing in more people on your side? The fight gets bigger. So when the fight does break out, it goes from a regional conflict or a conflict between two houses to an entire nation at war with itself. That's what you're doing. That's what you're building. And you're saying, and you're hiding behind, oh, we're peaceful. We don't want war. Bullshit. What you want is complete devastation whenever it breaks out. And again, Damien was like, let's fight the war. And he suggested this when it was more between two houses, and all the women, the politicians were like, no, we need more allies. We need everyone to declare before we start, right? That means the war goes from two houses to the entire nation. And he was just saying, let's take out their military targets. Let's try to, and everything the men were doing, they were stupid ideas, stupid plans, but every one of them was about taking out big military targets, big military threats, or taking out the actual opposition. Whereas the women were basically like, let's get everyone involved. Everybody has to be involved. Everybody, even the infants, give the infants knives so they can stab at each other. And I'm like, what the fuck? Just intentionally, like, this is why women shouldn't be in power? Because it really reads like it. Unless you just think purely emotionally and you have no object permanence whatsoever, and you just float from one girl power moment to another, and you don't actually think about the consequences, which itself is sort of an indication that maybe women shouldn't have power. If you watch this and you're like, oh, these women, they're so awesome, they're boss babes, and you don't actually think about the consequences of what they're doing, the consequences of constantly delaying the fight and increasing the scope, you don't think about that, you don't understand it, maybe you don't deserve a vote.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, let's keep going.
That's it. I mean, the only other there's just like a thing about.
Tell me about shooting the battle sequence.
Do you want me to read that?
What's the hardest part about riding a dragon? No, you know what? I want you to show. I sent you a video.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, I want you to show you that video, because this is the woman who apparently is reserved in her violence. No, you don't get to see this. Yeah, play it. Play that sucker.
All right. Let me play the video. Here we go.
Horrendous terroristic action.
They're even taking the time to show people desperately trying to escape. Like it's not an accident. Like they didn't just forget that there were people there and suddenly there's this dragon.
Who is it? Who's doing all this? Oh my god. It's anti-war crimes. This woman right here is the one who's constantly lecturing the men in the series who are like, hey, can we go after some legitimate military targets in this frickin' war? Oh, you're so toxically masculine. Horrendous. Oh, God. So did you guys all forget that? Did we all forget? Did we all forget that scene? Did we forget it? Did it just slide off the plate of our minds? So, or does she just get to do like, she just gets a couple terrorisms. That's just...
She was in her feelings, Allison.
She's in her feelings. So we just forget that. We forget that happened. Because once that happens, she doesn't get to say, oh, I don't want to pursue a violent option. Oh my God, you're so horrible, Damon. You want to go after an actual military target? No, she doesn't get to say that anymore. She doesn't get to be the icon of peace. All right? She's not peaceful. Okay? This is the and to try to present her like that is an insult to the intelligence of the audience. Who is buying this shit? Like, please come out and tell me. Explain to me. No, not just like, okay, yeah, it's great. You got these intense melodramatic moments. Fair enough. You don't want to think too deeply about it. Fine. But really, when you listen to this actress pretend she's doing Shakespeare and pretend like there's a deeper message to that, that is terrifying. If she just came on and said, I don't know why you're reading into it. It's just a bunch of soap opera with dragons. Like it's meaningless claptrap. If she just said that, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem. But she legitimately thinks that this is some kind of political message. Like this is a girl power message. This is a message about women in politics. That's terrifying. And all of the women who are buying into this shit and supporting it, even more terrifying. Because if you genuinely think this is a message about women in politics, the message is women shouldn't be in politics. Oh, good Lord. Okay. All right. I think that we've had a good run.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. You agree? So
Yeah.
I'm going to say,
go ahead
there's
and
more
end it.
things that we could talk. More things I could talk about in terms of storytelling and what's happening in storytelling these days. But I think it's good for a Sunday. This is enough. My blood pressure has gone high enough.
Fair enough.
So feedthebadger.com/support if you want to help us out to make sure we can continue to do this content, and feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a comment and a tip, and send that comment not through YouTube, or if you're watching us on X, you can see it on you can send us a message that way. I have no idea how you send messages through X anymore. I don't think there is a way. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Rhaenys being a cipher for Hillary Clinton. Like Rhaenys killed a whole.
In honestly, that way, there is like a correlation that whole like
Rhaenys
killing all of those people. They kind of remind me of drone strikes in the Middle East.
Death count in the triple digits. Maybe there is a little bit of a takeoff on Hillary there.
It's not quite the way she would have put it, but
yeah, no, I don't think she would have mentioned it that way. No, I don't think she would have revealed that kind of connection. But yeah. So once again, thank you for your kind attention. I just thought this was so ridiculous, but we'll see you again on this channel. Maybe not next week because Brian is taking time off. If I can figure out how to use the equipment, maybe I'll do a few streams while he's off. But we'll see. I don't really trust my ability. But anyway, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for your kind attention, and have a very lovely evening. And enjoy the House of Dragons this evening. If you're going to enjoy it just some schlocky fun, that's fine. Don't enjoy it as having a political message, because the only real political message it has is women don't belong in politics. Really think about it. Every single woman has made bonehead decision after bonehead decision, and anti-war crimes can't say that she's about peace after doing that. It's not possible. I don't know what the hell she's after. If anything, it seems like she's after trying to destroy Rhaenys' attempt at reclaiming the throne. Anyway, have a good evening, and thank you for your kind attention. So, good night.
Are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if